Bitcoin is currently retesting previous resistance as support, and this could be your final warning for Bitcoin. There are a lot of interesting formations I will talk about with you for Bitcoin today, and I will have a look on several time frames with you. I will also discuss the two altcoins Bittensor TAO and TRON with you, but about that later in the video. The Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETFs are showing interesting data once again, and there's a lot of other interesting news coming into the markets. So watch this video all the way to the end, like the video, and let's dive right into the charts. On the daily time frame, Bitcoin broke through this huge horizontal resistance area, and this horizontal level is now getting retested as support, and we are seeing that the support is holding strong once again. So this is looking very bullish for Bitcoin, and let's see if Bitcoin can create more topside from this huge retest, and this bullish retest is what we want to see. So let's see if Bitcoin can create more topside from here, and eventually we want to gain this previous high to create a new higher high, because we are still in this huge lower high structure, and Bitcoin needs to break this previous highs in order to see a huge trend reversal on the daily time frame. And we also saw a lot of lower lows on the lower side, and now we are seeing a little bit of a higher low. So let's see if this high low can be created, and from there we can possibly see a huge trend reversal for Bitcoin. And yesterday the Bitcoin ETFs had a bit of a bullish day again. We saw a total inflow of $12.8 million, so that was a little bit more bullish than bearish, of course. Grayscale was still selling and BlackRock was buying again, so this was looking very bullish. But the Ethereum ETF saw another negative day again, and they were selling $9.4 million in total for the Ethereum ETF. So this is looking, of course, a little bit more bearish. So eventually the Ethereum ETF is still a little bit of a flop. So let's see if we can see more bullish inflows in the coming weeks. And if we then have another look on the daily time frame for Bitcoin, we can see this huge structure is unfolding with multiple touch points on the top side as resistance and also on the lower side as support. And we can see this price is getting squeezed into this apex, and this price compression will eventually turn out to be once a huge breakout. So we could either see a break to the top side or of course a break to the downside, and this will be the bearish scenario for Bitcoin. But of course, this huge falling wedge formation is a typical bullish bias pattern, which tend to break to the top side more often than to the downside. So let's see if Bitcoin can force a break to the top side, retest the previous resistance as support, and then from there we can see maybe higher targets. But for now, we are seeing a huge rejection from this huge downward sloping trendline resistance. So this is looking a little bit more bearish, and eventually this resistance is now strong enough to see a rejection. So we could possibly also come all the way back to this huge support area on the lower side and maybe see a bounce from this level again. But of course, we want to see that Bitcoin is showing a little bit more strength, force a break to the top side, and then we can see more exponential highs. And then if we're going to see a break of this huge falling wedge formation, this top side will be confluent with the breakout target, and that will be around the $69,000. So this of course will be a very bullish scenario for Bitcoin on the daily time frame. And tomorrow, in 1 day and 10 hours, we will see a huge event happening, the next FOMC meeting by the Fed, and we are now seeing a 67% chance of a 50 basis point rate cut. So this is very bullish if you ask me. And we're also seeing a 33% chance of a 25% basis point rate cut. So we are getting 100% a rate cut, but the big question is, are we going to see a bigger rate cut or not? And if we're going to see a bigger rate cut, that means there's coming more liquidity into the market, and this is bullish for assets just like Bitcoin, crypto in general, and stocks in general. So more liquidity into the market means higher pumps in the coming months. And this horizontal chart with multiple resistance and support areas is the chart I'm always discussing with you. And we can see we broke through this huge next big resistance of the $58,000, and we are now retesting this once again. And we can see this support is holding strong. So let's see if we can come back to this big first resistance to the top side, and that will be around the $60,000. And we're seeing a bounce from this huge low. We saw a retest of the previous resistance as support, and now we're seeing a little bit of an uptrend unfolding for Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin can break the resistance around the $60,000, the next big resistance will be around the $64,000. So this will be, of course, having a very bullish effect on the price of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin can break through, I think we will see some similar price action like this. And eventually we want, of course, to gain this previous high, and from there we can create a higher high, and then we can create a huge trend reversal on the daily time frame. So let's see if Bitcoin can separate itself from this huge support area around the $58,000 and come back to this first big resistance and maybe force a break to the top side already. But of course, it all depends on the event of tomorrow or of the FOMC meeting. And I think if we're going to see a 50-point basis rate cut, I think we will pump through this big resistance around the $60,000, and then we will see levels around the $64,000 very soon. And another very interesting chart on the daily time frame is this huge consolidation formation, and we can see multiple touch points on the top side as resistance, and we can also see this horizontal level coming into play as support. And eventually this price will be getting squeezed into this apex, and eventually I think Bitcoin will also always break out before the apex is getting reached, so we could possibly once again go back to this lower side support, or Bitcoin can just create a bullish break. And if we're going to see a bullish break, the top side of the formation will be confluent with the breakout, and this is also a lot of interesting resistance. So this will be around the $68,000. So let's see if Bitcoin can create more bullish price action, break to the top side, and then see more exponential moves. But of course, the bear scenario could also happen, and that we're going to see more lower levels, and that we're going to come back to this huge support area on the lower side. So let me know in the comments what you think about Bitcoin and what you think about what we're going to see in the next coming days. And the first interesting altcoin I want to talk about with you is Bittensor TAO. We can see that TAO is now trading in this crucial range, and we can see a lot of interesting formations unfolding. First, we saw this huge falling wedge formation unfolding on a daily time frame with a lot of downside. And at this top, Binance was listing TAO, and we are also seeing huge downtrends from there. And we are now seeing a huge range forming for TAO. And on the lower side, we can see that support is coming into play 3 times again. And this was looking very strong. So buying at this green box of accumulation is a very smart thing to do, in my opinion. Just like I did. And I've been warning you about this huge potential buy order. So we also see a lot of resistance coming in at this horizontal resistance level. In the past we saw multiple price interactions. So this is looking very strong for resistance for TAO. And this will be the first big resistance to break for TAO. So if TAO can break through this resistance, we can possibly see a more exponential move to the top side. And if we have another look on the daily time frame, we can see this huge consolidation formation with this symmetrical triangle with multiple touch points on the top side and also on the downside. And eventually this price is getting squeezed into this apex, so TAO will have to pick a side. So either we are going to see a bullish break to the top side, or we are going to see the bearish scenario that we are going to see a break to the downside. And of course, we all want to see this bullish break happening for TAO. So let's see if TAO can show more bullish price action in the coming days and eventually break bullish of this huge symmetrical triangle. And the next interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is TRON. And we can see that TRX was in this huge consolidation formation on the daily time frame. And now we saw a big pump afterwards, because this was the start of the huge meme coin season for TRON. And we saw that Justin Sun was creating that sun pump. And now we can see multiple touch points as support coming into play on this daily time frame. So we can see multiple touch points here as support, and this is looking very strong for TRX. So let's see if TRON can separate itself from this line, and eventually we want to see more spikes to the top side. And we are close to a previous all-time high, because if we have a look on the weekly time frame, we can see that the previous all-time high was not getting hit at this level. And if we're going to see this exponential move to the top side around the 18 cents, then we can create a new all-time high for TRX. So let me know in the comments if you're holding TRX and if you're still bullish on TRON, and also if you're trading meme coins on TRON. So for now, I'm looking at this beautiful bullish retest for Bitcoin, and let's see if Bitcoin can separate itself from this beautiful support level. And if we're going to see more separation of this level, then we can see more bullish price action. And of course, this first big resistance around the $60,000 is the first big resistance to break. So let's see if Bitcoin can break through the $60,000 in the coming days. Please give a like if you find the video useful. Follow me on my other socials, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.